Hey everyone, welcome back to Viking Central. It's week 9. We have the Vikings visiting the Detroit Lions. And I have with me today Vikings super fan that you saw before when I had him on and interviewed him about his trips to not only Dublin, but also London. Welcome back to the show, Mark Anderson. Mark, how are you doing today?
Thanks for having me back. I'm doing amazing. I'm ready for some Vikings football.
Well, I appreciate you joining the show. We do have some sponsors I'd like to recognize, and that being first, That's Badass Wood Art. So that's Badass Wood Art. You can use that code VC15 and receive 15% off on any of their different art items that they have on their website. Um, Luis at That's Badass Wood Art usually does some giveaways, so please check him out on X as well. Again, he's usually doing some skull art giveaways, so join in. Usually it's a retweet type thing, and lucky winners every week. So they're also our sponsors of That's Badass Wood Art, Badass Player of the Game that we do in our post game show that you'll see tomorrow after the Lions and Vikings. So in week 9, with the Vikings and Lions matchup, what we feature is, of course, one team that's rolling being the Lions. You know, they're doing well. They're sitting atop the power rankings. And then, of course, the Vikings come into this game struggling, trying to get back and back to 500 and bringing back J.J. McCarthy. Finally, we haven't seen him since week 2. The ankle supposedly is fully healed now, and he's ready to go. So KOC is going to give him the ball and the start. Of course, Carson Wentz, he's on IR for the rest of the season after that battering that he took in our last previous game that we had. And, unfortunately, this is the type of game where I think JJ McCarthy has to show us something. I know he's got the rest of the season, but he has to show us at least in this game that maybe he's started to address some of the issues that we saw earlier in the first 2 games. And both Mark and I, we're going to jump into what we see as the 5 keys of the game. But with this, at any time, if there's any of you that are watching this, whether you're following us on X, YouTube, Facebook, please make sure that you jump in, add some comments, ask some questions while we're going through these. We'd love to get to any of the comments that you have for either myself or Mark and address about this week's game. So as we get into this, 5 keys of the game. Again, these are the 5 that I have, Mark. You can absolutely share some additional ones that you want to talk about as well. And then again, those of you that are watching, if you want us to talk about something, go ahead and bring it up. And then also, we'll also get into some game filled, and that'll kind of break down some of the things that I'd like to see in this game that maybe we weren't seeing in previous games and starts with JJ McCarthy in this Vikings offense. So let's just go ahead and dive into it. The Vikings central keys of the game. Number 1 that I want to talk about is the Vikings offensive line versus the Lions defensive line pass rush. Now, before we get too far into this, we need to look at what does our injury report look like when we talk about the Vikings offensive line going against that Lions defensive line pass rush. So I'm going to go ahead and bring that up. So real quick, out for the game for the Vikings injury report, we won't see CJ Ham. We won't see tight end Josh Oliver, which is important for the fact that Josh Oliver does add some additional, not only run, but pass blocking. He's one of the best pass blocking tight ends out there. And then Jeff Okudah, he has a concussion. He didn't practice. So he's not going to play in this game. So what you'll probably see is Dwight McGlothern probably taking more of those CB3 reps. And then also what we saw with Fabian Moreau, he got brought up from the practice squad. So does he see some reps during this game? We'll kind of see how that plays out as well. Questionable Christian Darrisaw and then Brian O'Neill. Now that's important with the 2 bookend tackles. Now, both games that JJ McCarthy played, he didn't have support from Christian Darrisaw when he was playing, and he didn't have Donovan Jackson either. So that is important. And he didn't have, just that full offensive line. We were really kind of struggling there too. So Brian O'Neill, limited in practice, and then Andrew Van Ginkel, he practiced full, and Josh Metellus. Now, I haven't seen if Josh Metellus is not going to play, but what I'm hearing is Darisaw, O'Neill, and Van Ginkel. We could see all three play in this game, which is great to see Van Ginkel finally back as well. And then, of course, JJ McCarthy, full practices. We're absolutely going to see JJ McCarthy playing in this game. Now, going back to that keys of the game. So why is that important? That Vikings offensive line, like I said, early on in those first two games, we didn't see a healthy offensive line. We saw the left tackle being manned by Justin School. And yes, he was getting ran over early. And that was causing issues as far as how much time JJ McCarthy was having in the pocket. Now, there was definitely some issues that he had. But coming into this game, again, you're coming off injury. Chemistry is a thing. So with this offensive line facing this Lions defensive line in that pass rush, I think that's definitely going to be crucial. So Aiden Hutchinson, and of course you got DJ Reader in there too, and Elite Neal that are going to create pressure. We have a good blitzing linebacker in Alex Anzalone as well. That's going to create havoc or try to create havoc against this Minnesota Vikings offensive line that's allowed 18 sacks in the last 3 games. That's the most in the NFL. Um, I think that's important, and to me, JJ McCarthy is not going to be able to do his thing just like we saw Carson Wentz wasn't able to do much. Now, he was injured, but you're not gonna be able to do much if our pocket is just absolutely collapsing. We can't establish a run game, and we can't give our young, uh, quarterback time in the pocket. Mark?
I agree. I mean, I always tell people, I was like, I played offensive line when I played football, so I'm always watching the line, and that's the key. And we've had 0 snaps with the 5 starters we thought we were going to have at the beginning of the year on the offensive line. They played 0 snaps together, so it's kind of hard to get any of that continuity and understanding and trusting the guy on your left and the guy on the right to do the right play. And so that causes that defensive rush. They do the stunts or whatever, and you assume the other guy's going to pick him up, and he assumes you're going to get him, and that's where it leads to just chaos in the backfield. I'd actually like to see them roll JJ out a little bit. Get him. If they're so used to being in the pocket, roll him out a little bit.
Some more
Let him
play
use some of
action.
that. Yeah, some more of that play action. Roll him out a little bit. Use his legs. Get him to where they're not just sitting in the pocket.
I agree. You know, he's got some mobility to him. He's
Mm-hmm.
got some quickness. Take advantage of that and utilize some of his strengths and allow him to create some havoc, like we see with like a Jalen Hurts. Let him get outside the pocket, and that also gives our receivers a little bit more time to maybe even run those second routes to where they can create space. We have some really good receivers. The big thing is in that if that pocket's collapsing, they're not going to be able to, especially if we're running some of these longer routes. That's going to create issues.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, and that's what you saw Carson do when he was successful. He was getting the passes out so quickly. It was
Hmm.
just the real quick slant games, getting them out before the line could get there. And I think we need to get some of those quick plays to get McCarthy in the game and get him settled down a little bit.
Sure. Yeah. I mean, making sure that he's comfortable in the pocket, get him in a rhythm early. But, so running some of those plays that are going to help that to where he's not, again, it early on, we got to establish some sort of a rhythm. It can't be 3 and out plays. If we're not going to be able to stand up in that pocket and keep that pocket open for, you know, at least 3 to 4 seconds, it's going to be a long night.
Absolutely.
Uh,
Absolutely. I think the line did okay against, even though it kind of looked ugly against the Chargers, some of their big players and things. I thought the line did okay,
mhm.
but there's always a room for improvement. And this Lions defensive line is tough and fast.
They had a bye last week. The last time that we saw them play was against the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. They held them to 9 points. They got 4 sacks on Baker Mayfield. You know, they are a defense that can get to the quarterback and create pressure.
Mm-hmm.
So we're going to see them try to come after a young quarterback in JJ McCarthy that's trying to establish himself after being off injury. I expect them to bring quite a few blitzes at JJ McCarthy and get him uncomfortable early.
I agree.
I would attack him if I were in their shoes, so I expect them to do that.
Mm-hmm.
Moving on to number 2, can JJ McCarthy be accurate and not let playing in Michigan affect his game? Now, we talked about this a little bit before the show, Mark, and if you want, go ahead and expound on that a little bit.
So I was thinking about this is, his very first NFL game was in Chicago where he grew up, and now coming back, his first game after injury is in, Michigan where he played college and,
Mhm.
had a lot of success. And usually when you find that, especially in those younger players, they're overhyped and they're excited and they want to show. And you saw that in the Chicago game in the first half where he was just rushing things or overthrowing players, yeah, just because of the excitement and that energy. I would really love them to get him, before the game and just get him focused. And I know he's done some meditation stuff, and I hope he does that again and gets back into some of that just to kind of go, just take a deep breath, figure this out, and go, because it's going to be that excitement, right? There's going to be all these people that watched him in college and want him to do well, and he's going to want to do that. And you see that in a lot of quarterbacks. They get excited and they overthrow, and that can lead to interceptions and 3 and outs.
Yeah, I mean, you probably got family, friends that are attending this game. A lot of fans of JJ McCarthy that hey, JJ McCarthy doesn't lose in Michigan, right? That's the
Yep.
thing. Are you letting that kind of stuff creep in your mind? I hope. I hope not. I hope he can just drown all of that out, focus on the game plan, and just try to be comfortable, be accurate. Again, don't let any of that affect your game. And I'd like to see some of that fierce JJ that came out in the end of the Bears game come
Yes.
out early in this one. Go out, be cutthroat, but being accurate. And we'll break down some film on this and some of the things I just want to point out. Now, I think some of this being accurate is, gosh, I mean, I think when you got, you know, Aiden coming down on you really quick, and you don't have whole lot of time in the pocket, and you don't have a whole lot of time in the pocket, um, you may tend to rush throws. You know, maybe you're getting happy feet, and if you're not able to step into throws, which this is something that I've seen on tape from JJ,
Yes.
when he does not step into throws, he has uh he has a tendency of not being accurate. When he starts throwing off his back foot, that's when passes start to sail, or you see the inaccuracy from him. We kind of saw it with some things with Carson Wentz too. Stepping
Mm-hmm.
into the throws. If we can hit some of our receivers, while they're in stride, man, I mean, we've had the opportunity to really break open some big plays, but if you're not hitting your wide receivers in stride, you're not giving them the opportunity to really take advantage of maybe some of that space that they've created within their route. So if they're having to go back for the ball because you underthrew it through behind them, or they're having to dive for it out of bounds to try to make a spectacular catch because you're not accurately throwing the ball. I mean, we're just putting ourselves in bad situations and not taking advantage of really a great route by some of our wide receivers when
That's
we
just
do
it.
when we do have time in the pocket.
Right. He's got to trust him. I mean, and he didn't get a lot of time with Jordan Addison because Addison was out the first 3 games,
Hmm.
and so he's been doing it in practice. But just go out there and they've all got good hands. You got to trust them, and so put it out there and make it catchable for the receiver. Like you said, it's got to be accurate. right? You're throwing that out pass, put it out where the receiver can get it without having to dive for it, those sort of things. But you put it behind you, then you get the pick six, and it just can go downhill quickly. But
Yeah.
I'm hoping he can play turnover free football for an
Hmm.
entire game.
Yeah, absolutely. Number 3, will the Vikings be able to establish a run attack with Jordan Mason? That's something that has really been missing. If we can't establish a running game, especially in situations that need it, uh, we're really not doing ourselves any favors. I think we saw that in the Eagles game. We started to establish that in the second half, and then we went away from it for
Mhm.
some reason. Now we have Jordan Mason and we have Aaron Jones back. So you have a little bit of dual threat there back. And hopefully, if we're getting Darisaw and we're getting O'Neal back, that will help. You have Donovan Jackson. I think we're back to as much of full strength as we can. Again, hopefully, Darisaw is, fully healthy. He's not going to be on a snap count or anything like that. Um, but establishing that run attack, you have to do something, especially if you're going to be running some play action where they fear the run a little bit.
And I think Jordan does better in sort of that combo with Aaron Jones, right? Where he was just the
Mhm.
lead back. Everybody is like he's keying on him, and the run plays he's going to do, but like bringing Aaron in and letting him run some and catch some, right? And just keeping Jordan a little more fresh and keeping those legs churning. I think he can do it. He
Mhm.
was just, I don't know, I just felt a little hesitant last time against the Chargers, where he just didn't have the room to really burst and get through some of the holes.
Yeah.
So
I mean,
um,
we got a great holes. First
yeah, yeah,
contact can't be either behind or at the line of scrimmage, how it has been lately.
yeah.
Obviously some of that has to do with injuries, but we got to be able to make some holes and establish that run.
Yeah, I'm pretty sure my wife could have quoted me last game of block someone, anyone. I don't care. Just hit them. Get in their way. Slow them down.
Yeah, so I mean, I think that's just super important with even just the confidence of JJ McCarthy, where he doesn't feel like he has to do it all himself
Yes,
with his arm.
very
So his
important.
first game back again, this establish that run attack. I'm not saying, you know, you know, be predictable or anything like that with that. I'm just saying we need to be somewhat fairly balanced. I think um, the scary thing about playing the Detroit Lions is, if we get into a track meet and now we're down a lot, yes. I mean, unfortunately, we're not going to be able to, stick with the run as much in a game like this, so, but early on, I would like us to try to establish that run attack. And again, if we're extending drives, uh, like I hope we are, some of that possession, we're not just three and out, turning the ball and giving
Mhm.
them so many possessions to where they have opportunities to put points on the board. We want them to sit on the sideline. We want them to get cold. We don't want to overwork our defense where it feels like they've been out on an island forever. So we need to make sure that we're establishing the run attack, giving um, our quarterback an opportunity to, run with a balanced offense at least early.
Absolutely. Well, and I think by doing that and keep, staying closer, getting the lead, like we talked about, starting early, that that run attack in the second half just becomes it just becomes stronger. A little bit is the confidence of the team. A little bit is just we've got their defense tired because
Hmm.
we've kept them on the field longer,
Sure.
right? We have to get those long extended drives, and it's just been a lot of three and outs, a lot more than it feels like we've had in the past. But
Mhm.
maybe that's just my purple glasses I got on.
So, when we if we flip the coin and win the toss, I would like us to take the ball first.
I think so. I
So
agree with that.
The last thing you want to do is give it to the Lions first, and they go down and put 7 on you, and then you already feel like you're playing from behind right away.
Yep.
Even if we can go down and get a field goal at the least, I think that's important. Now the next one, the Vikes D versus the Lions run and short passing game. Yeah, I mean we've had trouble stopping the run, and the one game that I feel like we absolutely did stop the run was against the Eagles.
Yeah.
We committed to the run, and then we let big plays kill us. Now, what the Lions like to do with their running game, they got Montgomery and they got Gibbs, right? Sonic and Knuckles. Yeah, we've heard it. That's great. But their short passing game and what they like to do with Amon-Ra St. Brown, or even those short dump off passes to Gibbs, those are killers. And we have to be able to. There's no like making the Lions defense one dimensional per se, but we can't let them run all over us and have a short passing game. So we have to be able to shut down the stuff in front of us as much as we can.
Yes.
So one of those two has to go. Jared Goff will just pick you apart. He's an accurate passer. He is. So we need to be able to affect one of those two things. Vikings D, getting pressure on him obviously is important. That's something we have not really been doing lately. He's not a super mobile quarterback, so being able to get in there and get to him, that's one thing. But again, what he likes to do is those short passing game routes with Amon-Ra St. Brown and Gibbs. Those are the ones that are really going to kill you.
Well, and then when you do, even if they hit those short passes, you got to tackle them. The first guy has got to bring him down. There was just a lot of missed tackles or arm tackles or putting the shoulder into them and thinking they're going to fall down. And it's just like get back to the basics of football, which Brian Flores usually does. And he's got his team ready to go and fired up. But there's just been a lot of missed tackles lately that I've noticed, and that's killer.
Yeah, wrap up on these guys for sure, but let's not let them. If we can focus on stopping that, minimizing.
Yeah.
That Lions run and what they like to do in that short passing game, and realize that they like to do that.
Yep.
So if we know that they like a lot of those short passing routes, I'm not going to play off on them so they can just run a slant on me and that's a freebie. Those are freebie routes for them. They love running that. So if you're playing 10 yards off the ball, I mean, you're just giving them free food, because that's what they like to do. Is they like to chip. Yes, you have to be careful and watch the over the top Jameson Williams that they like to do every once in a while. But what's gonna kill you is small doses.
Well, I read earlier this week, I want to get Jameson the ball more. I saw their offensive coordinator is like, we've not done a good enough job, getting him included in the gameplay, right? And the game plans and everything. Is like you got to watch those the double moves, and we bite on those at times. So
we've shown we've been vulnerable to them.
Yes,
and I think some of that is just people were out of position though on that too. Like, again, we like to bend, don't break. We usually have some shell coverage with safeties over the top, so that doesn't happen. Unfortunately, at least in the Eagles game, they kind of blew the top off of us on some blown coverages there. Our last one, play calling on offense. So let JJ loose. And let's get the last part of that. I got to take the ticker off there, but play calling on offense. Let JJ loose and establish a run game, especially on third and short opportunities. This was driving me insane, and I'm sure a lot of other Vikings fans out there too. So when we have 3rd and 1 type plays, what are we doing by trying to get cute and let's not put Justin Jefferson in the backfield and try to run some kind of play action thing on 3rd and 1. Give that give that freaking rock to Jordan Mason and let him
Mhm.
go get you a first down. That should be a for sure first down. That those are the type plays where, same thing in the red zone. We like to do that in the red zone, and we have a third and short or a even first and goal, and we're short and we're trying to get cute on some of these plays where we brought in a running back that's supposed to be good with short yardage type plays and goal line, and we're not utilizing it. So yes, we've had some offensive line type issues, but we got to be able to run the ball in some of those situations, because if we're telling the other team we can't do that, you are truly one dimensional.
Yep.
They're going to pin their ears back and come get you on those plays. So,
That's huge. I'm agreeing with you 100% on that one. I was like, it's why are we like you said, being the cutesy or running the
mhm.
a reverse, or like you said, putting JJ in the backfield. It's like, okay, that's fine, but if you're going to put him in the backfield, and then you're going to once you establish that run, and then you can do that, maybe do a play action and get him out on the flat, and in some open space, maybe, but establish that first,
Yeah,
because they won't respect it otherwise.
right. So what I mean about letting JJ loose is I hope we're not just like playing it safe with some of these plays.
Mm-hmm.
See what the kid can do. And obviously, he's got to have the time to make some of these plays. But yeah, I mean, uh, all of our plays can't be, short type first read looks. Obviously, our offensive line has to give him time so he can get to his first, second, or third read. So if we are rolling him out on play action on some of these passes, or even if we have to, shotgun and some opportunities, he's got to have some time to where it can't be a first read type situation. And if it's not there, I'm going to take off and run. We
Yeah.
saw a lot of that in his first two games, where if that read wasn't there, he's taken off running. So, yes, I don't want him to take the sack, but he's got to be able to get through his reads a little bit quicker. I'm hoping to see that against the Lions, to where we're not just settling. And he's got to be able to locate an open receiver that's right in front of him. Instead of
Mm-hmm.
taking off and running the ball. And if you're going to start to run, if that opens up as your receivers are trying to put you in a position so you can get them the ball when you're creating extra time by scrambling, keep your eyes downfield and not just, you know, look to take off and run the ball, but look for opportunities for some open passers. And I'll show you some plays that I'm talking about with that, where he's taking off running, but you got a guy open. You just got to look,
Mm-hmm.
keep your eyes downfield while you're doing it. So it seems like when he does that, he's committed. Like he's fully committed to running the ball instead of also looking to hurt you with either the pass or the run.
Well, I like that flexibility, and it keeps some of the defense honest by having a quarterback that's a little bit more mobile and can run.
Hmm.
Right? You saw that in the Chicago game when he ran in for the touchdown. That was fun to see as a Vikings fan, when we haven't had a quarterback that does that real often. But to be able to truly go out and have that flexibility. But like you said, you have to be able to look downfield, because all of a sudden there'd be somebody that breaks free and can get you 15 yards instead of the 6 that he would have got on a run.
Absolutely. Bob Swede says, "Skull, right back at you, Bob. Thanks for joining us, and definitely appreciate it. Skull Vikings, buddy." Um, so the other thing I want to go ahead and point out is just, what do the lines look like? So tight end ankles, knees, especially, are safe. Ironically, Kirby Joseph is out with a knee injury. He's ruled out with a left knee. Now, we all know between TJ Hawkinson and I believe Higby that he took out with the Rams.
Mm-hmm.
He's kind of known as being that headhunter, where he almost took out Tucker Kraft as well last year, and that was a thing where Tucker Kraft like had to like make some jumping move to dodge another knee shot by Kirby Joseph. So I, for one, and I'm sure all Vikings offensive players are
Mm-hmm.
happy to not see him out on the field. They just reckless antics by him. Running back Craig Reynolds, Malcolm Rodriguez, and then questionable Taylor Decker. Game status, again, we'll see. He's probably going to end up playing Avonte Maddox, Baki, Thomas. We looks like we are going to see Terry and Arnold out there, so he's expected to play. So we're going to go ahead and jump into some of these plays. I didn't have the time to maybe do a pretty breakdown like I have before in the past with these, but I'm just going to talk through some of these plays as far as what I'm seeing. And this is coming from footage from the Vikings and the Falcons game, which I apologize in advance. I'm making some of you Vikings fans out there relive this atrocity. But again, we're going to take a look at this is the last time that JJ McCarthy played. So we're going to take a look at some of the things that we were doing on offense that maybe good and bad that I'd like to see in this Lions game. Again, if you have questions, comments, go ahead, X, YouTube, go ahead and throw them in the chat. All right, so taking a look at this first play that we have, you see Jalen Naylor, he's in motion. All right, so right here, he gets pressure off of the right end side, and he takes off running. Now, what you're going to see in this play is what's in the middle of the field. You got an wide open running back that he could hit, but he is so committed to taking off on this run for this. Now he reaches out and he's just short of the first down on this play. But I'd like to see he got this linebacker, and I'm just going to rewind it just a little bit. Now, as this play develops, you're going to see this linebacker right in the middle. He sees the running back, and he's waiting for that pass. Now, right now, he's open. So, yes, he's got some pressure off it. Now, if he dumps it here, yes, you're giving your running back an opportunity to make a play. And maybe he gets stopped right there at the play. But once you decided to take off and run, look at this now. He has gotten that linebacker out of position. And this is where I want him to keep his eyes downfield. And yes, that's a little bit across his body, to go back for that. But man, Jordan Mason, it could take off for a very long gain on this, because now he is absolutely wide open. And now he has blockers wide receivers that would turn into blockers for him downfield. But instead, he's fully committed on this and takes off, and he's just a little bit short. Still a good play. But what I'm saying is I would like him to not be just absolutely committed and keep his eyes downfield. I like that he didn't try to throw it to Justin Jefferson on this play. Sorry, it's Aaron Jones. Even better, right?
If you actually watch this, Aaron keeps himself open, ready to receive the pass the whole time. He doesn't turn into a blocker right away.
Mm-hmm.
I remember this play watching the game. It was like, he's wide open. You've got him.
Yep. So AJ Terrell is on Justin Jefferson here in the lower left corner, and you're going to see he has pretty decent coverage on him. So I am actually glad that he didn't try to force the ball here and instead try to get yards, because if you're not going to throw it here, yes, run, see what you can get.
And yet you've seen
now this frustrates me too. If you're going to go for it on fourth and it's not much, we just have not shown that we're good on this play. I'd like to see us spread out the defense a little bit more and then try to give it to Jordan Mason instead of just trying to push this. This is just a feeble push. We got nowhere on that. Absolutely nowhere. All right. So this is what we're seeing right now on this play. You did have pressure from the inside. And, we want to give him a little bit more time, but he already has a defensive player in his face right off the snap. Now the routes, people are just getting to their breaks. But it's pressure right up from the middle. That's just, it's a killer for the quarterback. Here's another angle at it. 1, 2, and he's there. It's not a whole lot of time to read unless you already are dedicated on where you're throwing the ball. And is that enough time for receivers to really, truly get to their route and create space in that coverage? So hopefully that's something we can do a better job of this Sunday. Okay, this is just a run up the middle. And again, this is something where, again, we need to do a better job of our run blocking. Jordan Mason is the runner on this play. You see TJ Hawkinson come in the middle to provide a little bit of blocking. And it's not a bad play. Now, again, this play, this is fine as long as, you know, we spread them out and we had TJ come in. I like this play if we're sitting on 3rd and 1 for something like that. You're spreading out the defense a little bit, showing them that you could pass the ball, and you're not putting everyone on the line and tipping them off that, hey, it's going to be a run. That's what I'd like to see. Okay. We see JJ's in motion, or Jetta's is in motion on this play. Okay. So this is just a screen pass here. We don't get a lot on it. Jordan Mason. Not much to this. I'd like to see a better fake on this handoff here, but not a whole lot to it. We just didn't get much on it. Okay. This is what I'd love to see more of.
Mhm.
Now, is this you know, everything? We can't run this play every time, of course, but I'd like to see more play action. He's able to use his legs and at the same time create a little bit of space to where now the defenses are having to cover Justin Jefferson and Addison and Naylor and even TJ a little bit longer. But again, keep your eyes downfield and try to make a good play on this play. And I wish, and it's hard to see it right now, but I want to say it's Adam Thielen that's going to be over the top. That I wish he's on almost like a pylon type post route where he's headed right now. Not a post route, but a pylon type route. Just send that thing over the top to Adam Thielen. I'd love to see that be the play on here as he sees this a little bit farther. Now you can kind of see Adam Thielen's on the very top of your screen right here. You throw that over the top, for him, that's possibly a big play. But instead, he's committed to the run. Another look at it, you're going to be able to see Adam Thielen kind of open up on this play. So there's Adam up top. Look at that. Right there.
Yep, just launch it.
Throw that sucker downfield. Now that's easy to say, hindsight, looking at the tape, that's what you'd like to see. There's not a whole lot in front of him that's open except for that play. But give your wide receiver an opportunity to make a play. Okay, this next one, we're in shotgun, trips right. Okay, the problem with this route out to Naylor isn't the route itself. This play, Naylor runs a good route and he gets separation. The problem here is we're just not hitting our wide receivers in stride on this play.
A little high and a little behind him.
Oh, this one was in front of him.
Was it? Oh, sorry. I thought he had to turn.
A little bit. Yeah, maybe a little bit behind him. Yeah.
He had to turn.
Sure. Yep. But you hit him in stride on this play.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe he's able to turn upfield. Love this play. It's a good running play. Love to see more of it. We did a good job on here. It's not breaking it for a 20-yard run, and it doesn't have to be. But this is good blocking by Naylor upfield as well, too. And that was solid.
Josh Oliver came across and had a nice block. We're going to miss him.
I can't remember exactly what I was looking for on this play here. So this is the patch to TJ over the top. Yeah, and that's one where, it looks like a defender just kind of got the hands in there, but if it hits you in the hands, you gotta come away with that ball. I'm not too mad at that one. Okay, he is wide open on this play, but again, behind him, and we're gonna see that in this next view. Thielen runs the route the way that he should. JJ is just not able to put the ball there, and that's where the accuracy comes in. That crossing route, he's open.
Mm-hmm.
All you got to do is hit him in stride, and there's nobody on that side of the field if you hit him in stride where he can turn upfield and go. Now, I'm not saying that defender's not going to catch him, but if you can hit him in stride, give him an opportunity to make a play after the catch. It's a little bit behind him and low. It gives time for the defender to get his hands in there. This is a great throw. Okay. So JJ has shown he's got the ability to put there. They got two defenders on this play where he puts it over the top of one, right on a pylon type catch, and he puts it where only the wide receiver is able to get it. And I love this throw. This is a fantastic catch by Jalen Naylor as well. Steps into it. Look at that. Beautiful. When he steps into it, JJ does a good job when he steps into his throws. Now, again, this is frustrating me. Can we run? I mean, we don't need to be predictable. You got Jordan Mason in the backfield. Spread out the defense a little bit. Give it to your man. Okay. Then let's see, because we're on a first down, first and goal, and we're sitting at the roughly the 3.5 yard line. Let him have an opportunity to try to get you to the one or hit pay dirt.
I'd put him right behind O'Neal. You got hat on hat on hat with
Yep.
those three offensive linemen. Just run him right there.
And this is the play where JJ bobbles the ball. He does a good job with the recovery, but then lets the pass sail to Justin Jefferson after this.
Mm-hmm. Trying to hurry it up.
It's a busted play. He's probably panicking a lot. It's kind of hard to blame him on the panic throw. I like that he at least got rid of it and didn't create a negative sack for a big play. So I'll give him credit for that. That was kind of a panic deal. But what do we do on the very next play?
Yeah.
Penalty.
Mm-hmm. I did not
shooting
understand.
Ourselves in the foot.
Didn't understand why they didn't call timeout there. I
so
understand
now,
you want to say
so now we've taken away the ability for us to run the ball.
Mm-hmm.
Okay, because now we're sitting, second and long, in a situation, second and goal, but now we've moved ourselves back to like the 8, where we're no longer in a position to maybe run the ball. Okay, so now we're gonna move on. Second and roughly 8.5, second and 9, roughly, or second and goal from. What was that? 7.5. Sorry, 7.5.
Mm-hmm.
Fake the pass, sacked in the back. Justin School lets him by. Okay, so hopefully Darrisaw's here, and maybe we don't have that happening with Aiden Hutchinson coming around the end. But again, that was, one thing where, is this JJ's fault? No, it's not. This is our offensive line giving JJ the opportunity to try to make a play. And that's something he didn't have in the first 2 games. So we have to remember that. This isn't all on JJ, the first 2 plays. He didn't exactly, I showed a couple, another play earlier where 2 other plays where he just doesn't have the time in the pocket. He's getting mauled and he's having to take off after his first read. So can we give him the opportunity to go through his reads and progressions and make good decisions with the football? Okay, so now we're in 3rd down. JJ's in shotgun here. their last opportunity to try to put in the end zone, doesn't see it, takes off, runs, goes down. What do we end up doing? Our highest scorer on the team, Will Reichard, right? Our de facto default red zone threat, Will Reichard. So we have to be better in the red zone. We can't have opportunities like this where we're just continuing to put ourselves in situations in the red zone where you saw we fumbled the football, we created penalty, and we had a sack. Like, it doesn't get any worse than that. But it seems to be every time we get down in the red zone, it's almost like those things happen to us when we get in the red zone. So limit mistakes, turnovers. I so badly wanted to put turnovers into the keys of the game. Obviously that's something where you want to win the turnover battle. We've been turning over the ball multiple times in every game lately, and obviously we have to do a better job of protecting the football. But we can't be scared in this game to let JJ loose and try to make plays, because the Detroit Lions are one of the best offenses in the league. They are going to score points on Sunday. That is going to happen. Mm-hmm. So we have to open up the offense. We have to show the ability to try to put points on the board ourselves and try to limit as much as we possibly can the Lions to field goals instead of touchdowns. The Lions are going to be that team like the Eagles that are going to go for it on fourth down. They're going to push it to try to put 7 on the board. They don't want to settle for field goals. Jake Bates is a good field goal kicker. But if you're playing Jake Bates for fantasy, you're probably going to get a lot of extra points because they're going for it on fourth down and they like touchdowns. So, going into this game, limit the turnovers, let JJ play, an offensive line. We are never going to know we have in JJ McCarthy if we don't give him enough time to be able to show you what he can do with the football. It doesn't matter who's at quarterback if we cannot protect or create some sort of a pocket back there.
Absolutely. And that's really going to be the key. The other thing I was thinking about is thinking about back to the Vikings last year.
Mm-hmm.
The defense got us a lot of turnovers. You think about all those turnover dances that they were doing in the end zone.
Yeah.
Right. It was like every week, hey, there's one. And it got to be fun to watch. And I'm not putting any pressure on our defense because they're out there, they're tired, but the ball's been bouncing the other way. We're not getting them.
Well, right? A lot of it's because right now we're not putting pressure on the quarterback, and we're not getting that pressure on the quarterback to where they're having to rush a throw and get rid of it, or we're forcing a turnover because we're getting to the quarterback and punching it out of the quarterback's hands. We're just not getting there. What we see, and I like Jonathan Grenard, but when he gets back in there, for some reason, it's like he's got grease on his hands.
Yeah.
He's not able to wrap up the quarterback and take him down, and it's like Olay, So I think
if we can get Van Ginkel back, that helps. I mean, I like Dallas Turner. I think he'll be okay, but Van Ginkel just kind of gives us that, at least last year, right? If he comes back, and he may be on the snap count as well, if he plays tomorrow, but he has that ability to make that play, right? Maybe two a game where he's the one that goes in there and forces him to throw it quicker.
Mm-hmm.
Right, that we just weren't getting to yet.
Yeah, no, I want to see us be able to, I'm not saying we're going to see a Gank 6. I'd love to see that. But get pressure on Goff. It's just hard. It's hard to get Goff to cough up costly mistakes.
Yes.
So you really can't rely on that in this game. So we just have to do a good job of making sure that we're not giving multiple turnovers and multiple chances for Detroit to put points on the board for sure.
Yeah. That's really where it comes down to, is we've got to stop those. And, I think JJ is a better game manager, and I hate that term as a quarterback,
Sure.
But I think if he can get in there and realize like, all right, just throw the ball away, right, and live to play another down, run for 6 yards instead of taking a sack. Sometimes it's okay, but I really think we just got to get him in a good rhythm right away, get him calmed down, and let him play. Just get out there and
Absolutely.
play. I think he's got what we need, but we haven't seen it because of injuries and offensive line woes and all of the other excuses the Vikings fans like to make.
So we're getting close to the end. We're getting close to predictions. I do want to make sure I give another shout out to another one of our sponsors, SeatGeek. So SeatGeek, you can go ahead and use code VikeCentral and get $20 off any $50 or more purchase. And that code is eligible on all SeatGeek tickets. So any events, football games that you're planning to go to, please make sure that you're using that code. Save yourself $20 on any of those purchases that are $50 more or more. Again, that code is Vike Central. You can see it on the top of our banners. And then, of course, Homage. Homage.com. You can go ahead and go to homage.sjv.io/Vikings. And that's one of the ways that you can support us here at Viking Central. And of course, check out what they have out there for Minnesota Vikings type gear. And Homage has some really cool clothes that they're comfortable and they look great. Legendary Comfort is on deck with Homage. Check out that website link to get yours today. All right. So, Mark, I'm not seeing a whole lot of comments here. So, I'm going to go through any final thoughts that you have on the game before we get to our prediction segment.
Just play hard. I really just want to see him come out and play with some passion and play hard. And if I can see that, because it just I don't want the season to be a lost season. I think they've got it in them, and just go play hard. And if that's what it takes, and no matter which side the scoreboard is, just go out and show some passion and play hard.
What I want to see, what I want to see in this game is JJ McCarthy. The rest of the way, the rest of the season, we have to see what we have in our young quarterback. Now, there's different ways to look at this. Are we going to know, being that he's already missed a bunch of games, are we going to know whether or not JJ's the guy? I'm not saying like just this season we're going to know, yep, absolutely he's the guy. But we can't go into next season not knowing what we have. And what I mean by that is the rest of the way, heaven forbid he's healthy the rest of the way, we got to see glimpses of what he could be. And that's what this should be the rest of the way for this season. We have the hardest schedule the rest of the way. Mm-hmm. It is going to be tough to turn this into a playoff team. If it does, hey, man, even more encouragement for the future with JJ McCarthy. But if we look at different quarterbacks as far as how they've done that, and I pointed this out multiple times with Drake May. How many games did they win last year? 4. Mm-hmm. 4 games. But everyone was raving about Drake May because of the progress that he made towards the end of the year and what he showed, because he showed what he could be, and he's doing that this year. So even if we don't win a ton of games the rest of the way this year, what we need to see is JJ getting better, gaining that experience and those reps to hopefully take us where we want to go in 26 and in 27. And hopefully in the off season, we have an idea of, hey, do we have to draft somebody else? Do we have to trade or look for somebody in free agency? Or do we have the guy? Okay. So that's where I'm at with the JJ McCarthy. Some of the things where people are freaking out. It's 2 games. He's played 2 games in the NFL. Caleb Williams has played 24 games in the NFL. 24 games. So just they're the same draft class because of injuries. It is what it is. We are where we are. He's only played 2 games. This is his 3rd ever start in the NFL. So you have to give it some time. And obviously, we have to be healthy as an offensive line to put him in a good situation where he can try to succeed. So injuries are what they are. There's nothing that you can do. Sometimes they're going to happen, but yeah, I mean, we got to be healthy to know what we have in JJ McCarthy too. We can't have 2 seconds to throw the ball where he can't get through reads and progressions, and we have no running game. That's not going to work. It's not going to work with any quarterback. It's not. So let's give him good opportunities to show what he has. And also keep in mind, hey, are we healthy out there? Is our offense giving him an opportunity? Because if they are, and he's still not being productive, and he's still not showing the glimpses, then we can ask that question. Then we can start, hey, did we screw up with Sam way too early for that? In my opinion. You can say, hey, yeah, I'm happy with Sam Darnold and what he did last year. I'm not happy how Sam finished the year. People forget that all too soon, to where everybody was ready to move off of Sam Darnold after how he finished those last 2 games against the Lions and the Rams, right? They were screaming for JJ McCarthy at the end of the year a lot. Now, if Sam would have ended up here, yes, we shoulda, coulda, woulda, right? Let's see what we got in JJ McCarthy. And if people want to say, yep, we should have kept Sam, yep, we should have signed Aaron. Yeah, sure, you can say that. But what if you got the guy? Okay. What if you got the guy? You will never know unless you play him. You will never know unless you give him enough games to show whether or not he is the guy or not. And we have failed to do that as an organization for as long as I can remember, other than Christian Ponder. We have not done that in such a long time. So every swing you take, yeah, you're not always going to hit a home run, but you're never going to know unless you take a swing.
I agree. You got to play him the rest of the year. Got to stay healthy. And if we can get that offensive line healthy, and like you said, give him time, that will let him grow and improve. Because you don't want the gunslinger and then you become scared, right? Because like I only have 1.3 seconds and I got to throw the ball and get the happy feet back there. But if we can get everybody playing in that same direction, I'll take a few losses. I'll take a playoff miss this year if you see that growth and expansion in JJ, because that's long term.
Absolutely. And as far as the health wise stuff goes, yeah, he's got to be able to show he has the ability to stay healthy. His his other classmates, have 24 games under their belt. Some of them, Bo Nix and Caleb Williams. Now, Jay Daniels is showing some vulnerabilities to injury right now, but got to be able to stay on the field. So, all right. So that brings us to our prediction segment for Vikings, Lions, Sunday, 12 o'clock noon tomorrow, CST. Mark, I'm going to let you go first. Where do you think we end up with this Vikings Lions game?
It hurts, but I'm afraid it's a 37-14 Lions win. I think we'll be okay. I think we'll keep it closer in the first half, but I think just long term they're just the better team currently.
How dare you, Mark?
I know.
Dare you?
I bleed purple and I'm not picking them.
No. I'm with you. I do think that this is going to be one of those games where, unfortunately, we're going to be playing catch up. I don't know if we limit the mistakes in this game, but I do think that we have the ability to put some points on the board in this one. I think we do end up, maybe it ends up being garbage time, but I think that we're going to end up in a 38-20 type ball game. Lions with the victory at home. So 38-20, that's where I'm going. I know some of you may be shocked that I think we may put 20 points on the board. Some of those may be, thanks to Will Reichard, but I'm hoping that we can put some in the end zone, maybe see a gritty at least on Sunday, which we haven't seen since JJ McCarthy. So that's where I'm at, 38-20. And Mark, what was yours again? 37-14?
34-17.
34-17.
So pretty close, 17, 18-point spread. Yeah.
Yep.
In that same spread.
And it's crazy because the spread on this game was like 9.5 points.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, but right now the way the Vikings have been playing, turnovers, inability to run the football, JJ McCarthy's first game back,
inability to
offensive
stop the
line,
run.
offensive line issues, inability to stop the run. I definitely think the Lions are at least 10 points better than this football team. So I'm not telling you who to bet on. I'm just saying, for me, that's a really close spread for a game that's in Detroit with what has been going on lately. Flow School, that's Ryan. He says y'all more bleak than Vegas. All right, so Flow School, Ryan.
I hope you're right.
Ryan, who didn't show up for tonight, is saying Vikes win on a game-winning field goal. Ryan, what's your score prediction? Being that you're out there and you're listening right now, I'm going to give you an opportunity to throw in your score prediction. Being that Vikes win on a game-winning field goal is what he's saying. He says, and I know that you're joking right now. I know he's joking with JJ 4 touchdowns. So this
I love
that. This is some pretty thick sarcasm, being that Ryan did not pick him on the fantasy 15 in his fantasy lineup. But Flow School, I'm going to give you a quick opportunity if you're able to. What is your score prediction? All right. He says 32-31. Skull Vikes, he says. All right, so Ryan is the only one, at least out of the three of us, picking the Vikings in this one. Ryan, thanks. Appreciate you chiming in here at the end as well, too. So that's all I have for tonight. I do appreciate everyone joining us. Thanks for the comments chiming in there, too, as well at the end, Ryan. Again, I hope we see some good progress from JJ McCarthy in our offensive line, and just we talked about the different keys of the game that we'd like to see the Vikings try to affect this game and maybe keep it close in this one. So we'll see where it goes. As a Vikings fan, I'm hoping I'm absolutely wrong with my score prediction and that I eat my sock on the post game show. But just feeling, and if I'm taking the bias out of it, and Mark is too, as Vikings fans, we want to see the win. That's just, again, taking the bias out of it and not thinking with my heart, but thinking with my head. That's where I'm going. So thank you again for our sponsors. That's Badass Wood Art, SeaGeek, and Homage.com. Follow us again if you're not already on X and YouTube, Facebook, TikTok, and of course, make sure that you're reading our Substack. We did talk about a little bit where we had an article go out. I wrote one this week talking about the trade deadline. That is Tuesday, November 4th at 4 Eastern. So if we come away from this game with a loss, are we sellers? We've heard rumors that we may be a buyer. If we are a buyer, I'd like to see something maybe in the realm of a center corner type combo if we are going to buy anything. Now, that doesn't mean that we aren't going to buy something and also sell at the same time. So obviously, it's looking like, based on our predictions, that we're going to come out of this and probably be 3-5. That doesn't mean that we can't win games further down the road. I don't think we need to sell off everything. We don't want to sell any key pieces that take away from our quarterback's ability to grow, mature, and have a chance at success. We want to build around him, but also we got to start thinking about, what's going to happen this season? What are maybe some parts that aren't working, and how do we better prepare ourselves for cap space in 26, 27 if we're not going to be a playoff team. So something to think about. Again, Tuesday is the trade deadline at 4 EST. For Viking Central, I appreciate you guys all joining us. Mark Anderson, thanks for being our special guest and helping us with the Vikings commentary tonight. I hope that you will join us again sometime.
Absolutely.
And
let me know.
and one more time, we had 34-17 from Mark, and you had 38-20 from myself, and from Ryan, who is chiming in from X, 32-31 Vikings was his pick. This is Viking Central. I'm your host, Steve Hoikkala. Join us next time. Skol Vikings. We'll see you in the post game after Vikings Lions. Have a great night.